All right, so we need to talk about budget glass and budget glass in particular for L mount cameras. I'm currently filming on and have been filming on for over a year now with the Lumix S5 II X. Absolutely love that camera. I've done plenty of stuff with it, like corporate stuff, interview stuff, wedding stuff, content creation. Pretty much all the videos that you've seen on this channel within the past year have been with the Lumix S5 II X. And I absolutely love when third-party manufacturers make quality glass that is not only good with optical image quality, but also with price. And this lens right here is absolutely no exception to that, which is the 50mm 1.8 by 7 Artisans. This piece of glass is budget friendly. So if you're looking for a 50mm lens or a portrait lens, for that matter, definitely give this one a consideration because at $240, which is 15% off right now on Amazon, so you can get it for less than $200, it's a steal. It really is. And let's just go over some of the features about it that I really like about this lens, and I'll show you some video footage as well as photos with this lens that I've used on the S5 II X. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Neil, and I am an aspiring filmmaker and content creator here on YouTube. So if you like that kind of stuff, feel free to stick around and maybe hit the subscribe button at the end of this video if you'd like to see more content like this. So 7 Artisans did send me this lens out for review, but they don't get to see this video. They don't have any input or thoughts. These are all my own thoughts, and everything I'm saying about this video is how I feel personally about this glass. So it is a budget lens. It's mostly made out of plastic. There's a little bit of metal in it. It feels like a plastic metal composite, if you will. It is a 50mm 1.8. So if you get to, relatively close to your subject, you will get that nice bokeh. And as you'll see in some of these pictures, it has like a swirly bokeh effect, which I really like. That to me gives, the lens some character. It's not just clinically clean or sharp, even though the optical image quality on it is really sharp. It has a 62mm front filter thread. And on the back here, it does have a USB-C port. So that way you can upgrade the firmware of the lens. And that is really clutch considering you won't have to use a dock or anything like that. Now, the back of the lens isn't weather sealed. It doesn't have a gasket or anything. So that's kind of a bummer, but not a big deal. I mean, it's a budget lens. What do you expect? But on the other hand, you would think that they could do something like that when they manufacture the lens, just to put a rubber gasket on the back to give you that quality as far as being able to be weather sealed. Again, not a deal breaker. It does have a non-clickable aperture ring, so you can adjust the aperture on the front. The aperture ring is really smooth. It does have a tiny bit of stiffness to it, but it's nothing that I would say you have to worry about, or that I was worried about for that matter. And it does have a AF/MF autofocus manual focus switch right here on the side, so that way you can choose between those focusing modes. So all in all, I would say it's a really good lens, a really good budget option if you're looking for something in the 50mm range. Now, this is the L mount version. I know they make it for Z mount, and I believe they make it for E mount as well. And this is a relatively new lens. It's only been released, I think, in the past month. But for all intents and purposes, it's a good lens. I like it. I think it performs well. Now, with photo autofocus, it was spot on. Pretty much, I would say the hit rate was 95 to 98%. With video autofocus, for some reason, it struggled in some areas, and I only used it basically in one autofocus mode. That was one area, and then actually two focus modes, one area, and then also eye autofocus as well. Once I switched from one area to eye autofocus, it started to perform better. And I don't know if that was because I had an ND filter on the front, which really shouldn't matter. You should be able to use an ND filter with any of your lenses without them, messing up the optimal efficiencies of having that autofocus in whichever mode that you're in. But again, it's also a new lens. I'm going to talk with 7 Artisans about it and also do some further testing myself to see if that was just kind of like a one-off thing, or if it does indeed struggle sometimes in video autofocus. Since it is a relatively new lens, I'm sure they'll be, updating the lens with some different firmware updates in the future. So really nothing a whole bunch to say about it besides I like it. For 240 bucks, if you're in the market, I would definitely consider it. And you know, it's a good thing when you can get glass that's not super soft, it has good optical image quality, it has good autofocus, and it's cheap, you know? And the lens itself, it has a little weight to it. It doesn't feel all like plastically, like it's a toy, like if you drop it the first time, it's going to break. So that's a nice thing about it. It is mostly plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap. So I think anyone who is looking for a budget option definitely should consider this lens. It checks all the boxes, really. You know, it could perform better in some areas. Like I did see a bit of chromatic aberration, like you'll see here in this video. In some parts, for some reason, it gave a bit of chromatic aberration on the model's white shirt. It almost made it look purple, a bit of color fringing as well. This is not, you know, a scientific kind of review video on this, guys. This is just kind of like my first impressions and my general thoughts about it. Nothing scientific here, but all in all, it's stuff that can be fixed in post if you run across something like that with chromatic aberration. But I didn't have to do a bunch of work to my images once I did get them back into post after using this lens right here. So let me know what you think in the comments. Just a real short video today. If you consider picking up this one, if you already have this lens, I'd generally like to know what you think about it. For me, it's a no-brainer. For 240 bucks, might as well say 250, even when it's not on sale. It is a good performing lens, and the 50mm 1.8 is really nice because I like 50mm focal lengths, especially for portraits. My only other favorite, you know, photo lens would be 85mm 1.8 or 1.4. But then also for video, 50 is nice because it gives you a semi-tight shot, and then being at an aperture 1.8, you'll have that nice background blur and that bokeh, which so happens to be a bit swirly on this, which I like. It's a nice character to have instead of just having, you know, kind of thin or blotchy, you know, bokeh in the background. So until next time, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down twice. Until the next time I see you, be safe, be kind, be creative, and take care of each other. See ya.